So we'll start off with the Baneblade and Hellhammer, and this will explain some magnification done to swap the options out and also make life easier when you transport this monstrosity. Firstly is the barrel. There is I think it's an 8mm magnet just stuck on the top here with super glue on the mantlet, and then within this barrel, before it was assembled, I put 2 magnets either side, and likewise also with the Hellhammer barrel, there is one at the top there, again done before I assembled this, because obviously it's easier to do when it's apart than when it's together, simply like that. The next thing, simply to make life easier, is the antennas, which are quite fragile. Simply magnets in there, and also obviously in there as well. This is helpful, again, so you don't break it when you transport, and also when you do the other version with this here. This one sits like this, so easy to do. Okay, then on to the sponson weapons, again, to make life easier to transport, and also if you want to drop 100 points on this already over-costed model. So magnification wise, I did one in here, and then 4 on each corner. I basically massacred this. It's not easy, but you have to be quite precise and have a lot of space, but it can be done. Then on the actual model itself, again, I butchered some of these to try and get it right, but I think retrospectively, definite tip is to probably focus on pushing these further out than you think they should be, because then it's almost like the magnetic pressure will pull apart and keep it in place. You can see I had a right old, misfire here, having to put it in twice. But once it finally worked, it's actually quite sturdy, and they do snap in place quite easily. So it does work. I think there's definite merit for giving yourself the option of taking those things off. Now moving on to the other versions, I'm not going to give them their names because I'm going to get them all wrong, but just on this part here. So once we pull this apart, it illustrates further magnification to keep it all together. So on this main body here, I've got magnets on each corner, and then corresponding magnets on the back here. And then on this front bonnet, let's call it the bonnet, I've got magnets here and here. And underneath I've got 2 there, which marry up with these 2 here. These should be pretty easy to get in place. There's enough plastic for you to go at whilst you use your drill. Now onto the other versions. So firstly, the front bonnet, let's call it again. This has got magnets here and here. Most importantly, here and here. So this simply slides in place. Having the magnet to the bottom there does give it an element of sort of stability. So I'll focus on the version which has got the turret on the furthest back. So this piece acts as both extended fighting bay for those versions and also an extended front bonnet, let's call it that. So that simply sits in here. I'm just illustrating this for now because that's just to come out again. This is then the turret, and you can see magnets there and there, and that basically sits like that. Obviously the magnetic pressure here, or force, will pull it into place and keep it steady there. Before we do that though, we need to put on the back section. So the back section, I'll explain this bit of sprue in a moment, but again I've got magnification here, and important for later is actually here and here. So before this goes in, you have to basically put this in like that, and then put in this bad boy here. Okay, it's been a bit fiddly. And then to top off this final section, there's a additional engine cover. So again, to keep it in place, magnet just there, plonk it in like that. So this is relatively sturdy, doesn't move around too much. Besides when you put too much pressure, but I can't really think of any other way. I think I've seen some other ones where you put like a bit of plastic along here to keep this thing in place. That's definitely probably an easier way, magnetizing the life out of it, but I like magnets. Now onto the actual main weapon. Now this is a bit of a doobie. So the challenge you face mainly with this version is just how long the barrel is. And then you've got obviously this muzzle flash or muzzle brake, muzzle flash, muzzle brake, I think, like that. This is actually a fair bit of weight right here. So to make this stay in place, I murdered this thing with magnets, put them bloody everywhere along the top here. And I basically put all of these up here. So thinking back, what I should have done differently is before I actually put this rear piece in place, I should have actually put them together, dry fit, with my hand drill and push the drill through here, because then obviously as you drill through this piece, you're drilling into that piece as well, which means the magnets are appearing where they should be, as opposed to doing this one separately and then going, oh, I'm going to guess and put it there. A massive fail. I did then basically do these two here. So there's one at the bottom here, one on the bottom there, weave it together. And you can do that with this in place if you do screw it up. Basically put drilling through there, and corresponding with that piece there, that magnet and that magnet there. So with it assembled, I'm pretty sure the most important areas to manage are actually at the bottom, and also obviously at the top, but I think the bottom does more work, just the way that gravity and physics work. So that in place, you then put this little final cover, decorative piece, like that. I've had to cut away a fair bit of plastic here to make it fit well, but if you do basically get your magnets all lined up perfectly, you shouldn't have to. And that is only a victim of the fact the magnets are pulling it a little bit out of place. It doesn't look too bad. Once it's painted and weathered, you won't even notice probably. So putting this monstrosity back on, so extended front bonnet, this thing here, then the barrel. So it's super heavy, as I said here. This front thing doesn't have to go on it, and you didn't just put it in. There's enough pressure to keep it in place. But getting these two things to marry up. So again, could have been done before I assembled it. So what I've basically done is I put it together, drilled a great big gaping hole through there, put the magnets in, whatever this thing's called, and the barrel. And actually, just a single magnet does manage to hold it in place because it's already quite snug as it is. So quite good. And quickly interrupting this to let you know about a giveaway I'm doing in partnership with bitsmonster.com. A UK-based bit supplier with an ever-growing range of bits across numerous 40k factions and other GW game systems. They're a treasure trove of parts, and they've kindly also provided me with a discount code for all my viewers. So visit their site and buy yourself some bits at a great price. In support of this video, they're also giving away enough magnets and magnetizers Baneblade using the method I use. That's 63 2mm magnets and 4 5mm magnets. Super generous of them. To enter, you simply need to tell me which of my videos was the first I released on YouTube and when. Leave your entry in the comments and you have 7 days to enter. Once entries are closed, I will then check the entries and draw one lucky winner at random. Now back to the video. Then putting it all together, this thing I've noticed actually is almost like the straw that breaks the camel's back. That adds a little bit too much weight. But I mean, to be honest, we just play it like that, and no one besides the most hardened of Astra militarum tank commanders will understand what the difference is, but this is relatively sturdy. So of course you could bump it, but it does seem to keep in place, which I'm really happy with, because eventually I'll paint it and play this thing, which is crazy if it does hit and does actually wound anything, because they die quickly. Right, then on to the other versions, which has basically got this thing sat forward. So take this all out. Take this out, don't need this cover, zoom back in again, and as you know, we now need to put the extended fighting bay up like that, and this sprue basically keeps it in place. Again, I've seen better versions where people put a bit of plastic along here, and that is what holds it in place. As I said, I don't know if I said it before, but you can actually see this magnet sticking through, but once you paint it and spray it, whether it even notice properly. So that goes in like that, this goes like that. That's pretty simple, actually keeps itself nicely in place. There's not more to be said here. There is 2 more pieces, as you know, which go along here as like a bit of a shield, and that's where you put heavy stubbers if you do wish to do so and invest more points. I'm not even going to bother, they're super small and I can't even think how you do it. I can't be bothered, to be honest, because I would never play that version, but I am aware you're missing 2 pieces here. Then for this thing here, again, it's really easy. There is a version which uses this thing. Don't know which one it's called, but to be honest, you just whack it on. I can't think of a way to magnetize it, not going to be bothered, to be honest, but that will simply just stay in place. And the last version, which we can't forget, which is the coolest, is the Storm Lord. I'm very confident it's called, which I think is Heavy 40, I think from the Vulcan Nigabolter. And I simply put a magnet just there, and marries up with the magnets on the top there, as you can see, and this simply goes in like that. It's not the best, even without magnetizing that version, and this thing simply will sit on top like that. So yeah, not too bad, not perfect, definitely could be done better, but I think it's probably like an okay version. A lot of magnets being used, I think, as I said, reflecting. I could make life easier and just put bits of plastic, little strips along there to hold this thing in place there, like that, and along also here as well, as opposed to putting that ugly piece of sprue. But yeah, hopefully it's helpful for any of you budding Baneblade tank commanders. Any questions, let me know in the comments. I'll do my best to answer. But if you want to support me, as always, you can do so with a like, comment, or by subscribing, or by a YouTube super thanks, or supporting me on Patreon and joining my Patreon platoon, where you get your name called out every week at the end of each video. Thanks for watching. Patreon platoon, sound off. Lieutenant Mitchell, Colour Sergeant DuPont, Sergeant Brady and Merrill, Veterans O'Dowd, Gibson, Gillian, Hall, Lundeen, Witten, Guardsman Combs, Hills, Nguyen, Tom, Tonkin.